Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the OnSight Media Group Podcast. Back in here again. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's your guys, and Trail,
Cash.
and we back to bring you more content for the culture. And I think today's pod, we gotta address the haps in the area, the stuff that's going on, specifically this past weekend. We actually went out and we made a statement about the Carolina Indie Fest, which is held in Sanford. Listen, in order to keep up with the latest content, know when we're dropping new episodes, new podcasts, new material, make sure you are subscribed. OnSight Media Group on YouTube. Follow us on all social media platforms at OnSight Media Group. Make sure you click that notification bell so you know every single time that we drop new content on the channel, all right? Again, this event it happens once a year.
Actually, happens twice a year.
It happens twice a year?
It happens twice a year.
Okay, twice a year.
They usually do one around this time, and then they got another one they do in like September, October.
You know what? You are correct. I do remember that. You are correct. Okay. And from the website, it says that this is the longest standing and largest independent festival in North Carolina, according to the website. And I'm not going to dispute that. But definitely, after we did the research, we had some concerns, I'll say, with how they represent Sanford or how Sanford is represented as a whole in this festival. So we definitely wanted to take the time to go out, experience the atmosphere. Not that we haven't been before, but actually experience the atmosphere, see what the vibe was like, see what the energy was like during the event, and give our feedback on how we feel it could improve.
That was actually my second time attending the festival. I went last year as well.
Okay.
And last year when I went, that was when I kind of like, who are these people?
Right.
You know, and then looking at it this year is like, again, you know, who are these people? Not to say who are they, because they're somebody, but they're not, known to, they're not natives from our local area.
Right. So let's go ahead and clarify, I feel like, exactly what we meant. Because this is an independent music festival that is held in a small market. Realistically, Sanford is a small market, right? You could have taken this festival anywhere. You could have taken it to Fayetteville, Raleigh, Charlotte, larger markets in North Carolina. And I believe the festival is sponsored or put on by some of the people of the ownership of Hugger Mugger Brewery in partnership with downtown Sanford. Mm-hmm. So we understand why it's held here. But our concern is that it's being an independent music festival. Why are we going and getting independent bands? So I will say this, that I don't think any of these artists that have been featured at the festival are mainstream industry bands. They're independent, local musicians. However, a great some of these bands are not local to the Sanford region or the Triangle area. This past festival, I know they had a band from Durham, and there was another band from Oak Island, to which I think it's not a recant, but we need to make an amendment to our statement, because originally we said there are no bands from Sanford. And the committee, or the Carolina Indie Fest, actually responded to the post that we made on Facebook and refuted, saying that
I got that right here.
So you do have that up.
They commented and basically said that it's not true basically our original statement is not true. Say they have Sanford representation in the lineup. It says at the same venue, and the same venue has monthly concerts featuring local musicians. This once again, this information has never been heard, even if there's something that they do. Our response was, well, we actually thanked them for responding and clarity, letting them know it's not about negativity or anything like that, or it's not made out of malice or spite. It's just about wanting fair representation and accountability when doing something like this. And then we also asked them to post. We asked them, if we were wrong, let us know so that we can correct our statement and post about the local band that was from Sanford that was performing so that we can support them. We can post so other people can go out and support them. Their comment came before the Indie Fest even happened, 2 days later, and there still was no reply to them listing that local band.
Okay, so I do have a little bit of an update about that.
Mm-hmm.
And the local representation that they had on the bill would have been, let me check my notes, the Cliff Wheeler Band, which we actually heard on Friday night. It was the band that played in the 8:45 time slot. Mm. Now, for clarity, because this is the information that I found out, there are members of the Cliff Wheeler Band. Let me make sure I'm pronouncing this correctly. There are members in the Cliff Wheeler Band that are from or at one point lived in Sanford. Now the band as a whole affiliates being out of Oak Island, North Carolina, which is on the beach. But there are members of that band that are originally from Sanford. So from the information that I got, that would be the affiliation with the town. With that being said, this is one out of, how many bands do they have? 10? So this is 10% of their lineup.
Continuing with walking directions.
This is 10% of their lineup that comes from or is native to our area.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't, and I'm just going to sum it up in saying, I don't think either one of us are wrong. With the information that we found out, okay, there is some representation, some music representation from Sanford. Mm-hmm. Could that have been more? I believe we both agree that it could have been.
Yes.
With the amount of talent, and again, I said this in the video post that we made. We are not specifically talking about hip hop. Yes, this is an urban culture podcast, but we are not just basing this off of the hip hop talent that's in the area. There are a lot of great rock bands, folk bands, country bands that are in the area. One band in particular that we spoke of is Hemlock Theory, Billy mm-hmm. O'Brien, who has done many, many events in the Sanford area. Mm-hmm. And we actually had him on, we did an interview with Billy, uh-huh. and he spoke about the opportunity to play the Carolina Indie Fest. And what I believe what he said was, he has missed the deadline or the application process. It has slipped by him whenever the festival was coming back around. And then overall, like, something that we pointed out is, I don't think it's hard to find this information, but if you don't know when they are submitting applications, to which we were able to find out via the website, you can submit right now. If you are watching this podcast, whoever you are, you could submit to possibly be one of the performing acts in the 2026 Carolina Indie Fest. You can submit your application to be reviewed now. Now, when that deadline closes is, I think, the point that you make, Cash. There is no public information to let us mm-hmm. know when are you taking these submissions. It's just an open-ended form on your website that says you can apply to possibly be one of the bands that we choose. One of their requirements is you must have 60 to 90 minutes of original music. You cannot perform covers. I don't know if that would be a deterrent for anybody, but again, and I can't speak for any of the rock groups, any of the country groups or artists in this area. But I know there are several of our hip hop brothers and sisters that have a legitimate 90 minutes of music that they could contribute to an event like this. I will say overall, I think it was a dope vibe. I enjoyed myself there. I don't remember the name of the band. Yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll let you chime in.
And I was looking on the YouTube post, right, and there was a couple of comments that I want to speak to, right. Is one by Brucci, if y'all look, and basically they're saying that the Hugger Mugger has a variety of events year round that showcase music, and showcase local music. It says to statewide musicians. It says to try to tear down an event that's bringing touring, well-seasoned artists who have original catalogs to entertain Sanford folks. It says it's a shame. Now, this is a long comment. They said that they spoke to Billy O'Brien, who they said has played at the Hugger Mugger, in the past, and that he had no knowledge until us making this video. To speak to this, it was not a tear down of the event. We did our due diligence and we did our research. There was no post, no call for actions for artists locally to come into this event. How can you have an event and artists from New York, Georgia, Syracuse, and all these other places know about it, but nobody locally does? There's a lot of well-seasoned artists from Sanford that actually has their own original music as well. And it wasn't a tear down. It was, hey, as a community, we need to do better. If you're having a big stage event that's locally in Sanford and has no Sanford representation on it, then something needs to change. As in doing like local events, I've hosted several open mics in the city as well. Like, this is not nothing that's new to us. And it's always been open for multiple people to come. That's not the same as having a huge event where I'm putting on a huge stage and bringing these people out. But to also speak to it at the same time, right? And this is, in the video, we mentioned that Hugger Mugger is their own independent brand. They have the right to curate whatever they want to curate. But when you're partnered with Downtown Sanford, that is a nonprofit, that they get their funding from the people in Sanford. All you got to do is go on their website, and you can see where they get their funding from. They get their funding. It comes from a couple of different sources, but one of the sources is the tax dollars of the people that are here in Sanford. So whenever you have, when their involvement, it changes. And it needs to be more inclusion that goes on. Because if I step to the side and talk about the urban community, whenever we actually come and we try to put on these events and bring big stages and everything like that, we're met with the police coming saying that, we're over the noise ordinance and all that type of stuff like that. When we try to actually go through the city and work with the city to put on these events, because there is a scene here. So if we're met with negativity and is trying to shut our event down, then okay, well, Sanford didn't work with us. That's what this is saying. This ain't trying to break down or tear down no event or anything like that, or no other brand or business. That's never what it was about. If it was about that, a whole lot more could have been said. And a negative energy, but that's not how we put it out. We put out a statement saying it needs to be a change.
Truth. And then just to respond to the comment that Billy O'Brien had no knowledge of the post, I received a message from Billy at 6:16 on Thursday, which was the day that the original video went out. Mm-hmm. And Billy's text message to me states, "My bandmates and I really resonate with the recent video on OnSight Media. Appreciate the shout out."
So, he messaged me too. I was gonna put it up too, but
and we also saw Billy that Friday during the festival, and he again thanked us for our statements and for trying to bring the community together or bring more light to what's going on in the area. I 1000% agree with you about this is an ongoing, this is nothing new. We could go back to when did Los do the Plum Festival? Was that 2017, 2018?
I think 18.
2018. Mm-hmm. He was met with the same energy. He was able to put that event on at the Lee County Fairgrounds. But again, exactly what you speak of and how much work it took him, although he was networking with the city. I believe he was even working for the city at that time. He had the backing of the sheriff department at that time, I believe was Tracy Carter. And he was still met with a ton of resistance. Now, luckily for him, he was able to pull that event off that 1 year. But since then, it's been a different scenario. And again, we're just looking for the fairness. We're looking for the equality in these situations. And when we can't get it, I think that's when the conversation of, well, when do we actually band together and build our own table, quote unquote, the way that, and I'm gonna refer back to Billy O'Brien. Okay. Billy hasn't been able to get on to the Carolina Indie Fest. What did Billy do? I believe he started his own festival last year called the Hemlock Fest. If I'm saying that correctly. If I'm not, please somebody correct me. But I believe it is called the Hemlock Fest, which he started putting on August, excuse me. And I believe he is scheduled for his second one.
August 17th.
Hemlock Fest, yes.
Yeah, August 17th this year.
That was the next message that he sent me. Hemlock Fest, again at the Mann Center, Saturday, August 16th, and Sunday, August 17th. And I also got a message that Dominic Cash is on the lineup this year. Shout out to Cash.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And just in a lot of ways that, you know, it's a sidebar, weeks coming back, that I may have been absent. Just know I'm back cooking, so tapping for the catering. I'm back performing, so tapping with the booking. I'm just, you know, I'm back doing events, so look out for those, you know. So it's, you know.
So again, people are out here. People are active. People are not waiting for somebody to let us in the door, although we should be able to get those opportunities when we knock. We should at least have the respect of having somebody answer the door to refuse us in our face, quote unquote. But when that doesn't happen, again, people are creating their own opportunities. Like Cash has stated, we at OnSight have put on events. Sandtrap versus Everybody now, Heart of Carolina, has put on several events in the past. Like you said, we've done community events outside, free back to school giveaways, and all of that, feeding the community. And yeah, you're right. We're met with, your music is too loud, although you can barely hear it across the parking lot.
Not even that. To actually to do certain events within the city, you got to go through zoning. If you go down to the zoning and permitting office, every event I've ever done outside in the public, I always go down there. I always go through what I got, the procedures and the steps I got to go through. Even we're going to the police department and, you know, getting up with Sergeant Thomas, because that's who you got to actually go to. You got to get everything signed off and permitted from him. I've done this, and I've still had the police come up to the events. So
this is what, and it's not a segue, I think this ties together, but what does it look like for us to put together our own event? And I would think the stigma, of course, we're always associated with our music is rowdy, we're loud, we're obnoxious, all of these negative stigmas. But yet, and shout out to Carl Ray. If anybody knows who I'm talking about, Carl Ray Jackson on Facebook. I think he is the model that could be looked at, because has it been 4 or 5 years? He has done the Carl Ray Day, which is basically a birthday party that is held at the Pittsboro Fairgrounds. So not directly in Sanford. But the point I want to make is, I believe 1 year, this man held this festival on the same day as the Dreamville Festival and still drew about 2,000 to 3,000 people at the fairgrounds. This event is so big, You got car clubs and families coming. Families. Similar to the Carolina Indie Fest, you got vendors out here and food trucks. I've even seen people pull up with RVs in their grills because it's really, it's a whole community type vibe. Families pulling 4-wheelers. They at the fairgrounds, so it's a racing track or a riding track in the middle of the fairgrounds that they just dirt bikes, 4-wheelers, ATVs. I mean, it's an all around good time. My daughter was very successful in being a vendor at, I think, the first one that was held at the fairgrounds. This started out as a birthday party in his grandmother's backyard that outgrew the space and has now evolved into 4,000 to 5,000 people on the fairgrounds. There has never been one incidence of violence. And we're talking an all-day event. I think it starts at like 2 o'clock and they out there till 12. Like, again, the food truck, the vendor opportunities, people out here selling clothes. I mean, what does it take for us to put something like that together? I think, and I spoke with him. I saw him one day at the store and I told him the only thing you're missing is to have performers. Why haven't you went and booked an artist or got with the local artist and allowed them to perform? And even with that, I mean, it's been music videos shot. I shot a music video at the Carl Ray Day one year. And seeing people out here, you got your camera crews and just pull up in a corner. You got the entire backdrop, fly your drones. So what does it take? What does it look like for us to come together and to be able to support in the way that people support Carl Ray? Is it Carl Ray himself, or is it just we know the atmosphere? Like,
I think, like how you said, his event started in the backyard and it grew to the capacity where it didn't fit in the backyard. It goes from like word of mouth, and hearsay. So like when people be like, oh, so now it's going out. And with most people, sad to say, most people are followers. They're gonna wait until they see the crowd latch on to something, and then now it's like, oh, we going to Carl Ray Day. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And not just to say hit, but with anything, most people are followers. And it's a comment that April Sproul made, Ken Godmother, on one of the posts, where basically she was talking about it takes all of us to actually be involved, and actually show up for each other. Like even talking about being on some of these bigger stages, while the talent is here, original music and everything is here, if we're not showing up and actually showing that support for each other, then why should we expect for the city to support us? And I felt that 100%. And that's what actually where it starts. It starts with us showing up and supporting each other. There's a lot of talented artists here. Too many. Too many. And everybody that's in the city has somebody that they deal with, or they know that do music, they support, they follow their music. And these guys can go so much farther if everybody would just be behind them and actually, be involved. If you have a big event, only the artists coming. The people, y'all got to come out too. Y'all got to come out and y'all got to support these artists. That's how we actually help the artists develop and grow and have farther reach, and also bring growth to our own area, our own community. Opportunities. With involvement and support, it brings opportunities.
True indeed. And you talk about support, and I think I need to find this post. You sent me a YouTube video of a cipher in New York.
Oh, that was hard. Did you watch it?
Fire. I did. I didn't watch the whole thing. It was about 20 minutes long. I didn't watch the whole thing, but the title alone grabbed me because this is 65 female rappers.
65, or was it 600?
See, I'm looking for the post. I got to go back and see if I can find the message. I thought it was 65, but still, as we talk about banding together and supporting each other, Like, have we ever had 65 artists in the room at the same time? And they on the train, they on the subway or something, right?
I think from my acknowledgement, and not just trying to say it because it's something that I held or I hosted, the biggest artist turnout that I've seen in Sanford would have been the very first Got Bars Fest. That was 2021 in Dalrymple Park. Had 17 artists that were actually in the cypher, and it was over 20 performers that came from all over Durham, Wilmington, Littleton, Rocky Mount. We had local artists. You know, that was probably like the biggest artist event that I've seen.
I don't disagree with that. I remember that event.
I was actually going through my drive, and it was a lot of that footage I ain't even put out yet, and I was like, "Man, I need to drop some of this footage."
I mean, it definitely has a home on the OnSight platform, so we should go back, and again, that's that support. We still have these performances from artists that may not have the resources or the means or the know-how, the knowledge to be able to get the content out as frequently, or how to create that content. Although it doesn't take a lot. This is YouTube University. You can figure this stuff out. But go ahead.
The venue he was talking about was North Carolina's largest all-female cipher. It actually was broken down into parts.
Not North Carolina. New York.
Yeah, it was New York. It was actually broken down into parts, and it was over 250.
250. That's what it was. 250. Crazy.
One train cipher.
One train. That was it. Yes. One train.
Cipher.
One train. If y'all haven't seen this video, definitely go check it out. Not to say we have to do something like this, but more or less let it influence us to be creative in these type ways, because again, there are definitely 200 artists in the area. Put yourself in that space around other creatives, and for me, it's always just pushed me to want to be more creative. It's almost like a challenge, so to speak, to really get out of your comfort zone and create the artwork, be a part of the art. And you never know what it'll do for you. It might be somebody at that cipher, or you give yourself that opportunity to now somebody watches and you're the thing they've been looking for. So again, you got to give yourself those opportunities. So yeah, that's big. So I guess the next question is, when do we put this? When do we being OnSight Media Group, when do we put together something, and what does it look like? I feel like we should network. We should reach out. Carl Ray, if you were watching this, we need you to holler at us. We know absolutely April is Carl Ray month. So whatever we do, it wouldn't be in April. But I think a conversation needs to be had to where we need to see what it looks like for us to start our own. Of course, 2025 was the last year of the Dreamville Festival, which is not necessarily dying. It's just being branded under something new. But again, something on that scale, something on the scale of a Carl Ray Day for independent artists, independent urban artists, if they already have this for another demographic of music.
So I don't even know if I would want to lock it off to just being, urban.
And I like
because
that.
Then we're doing the same thing that's being done.
And plus, to add to that, if it's not marketed to just one genre of music or one main focus of music, then you get the ability to cross promote in other markets. Because I'm sure we see the blend of hip hop and rock, country and R&B. Like, we see these blends of music all the time. And you never know, it might be a folk artist that's been dying to collaborate with a rapper or something. And this is that opportunity. This is where they're going to find that artist. We've seen the networking opportunity, even from the events that we did. Like, you got a major, a power production team in Justin Branch and Southman that basically was birthed at the Power Mixer. I believe that's when they met each other.
Oh, word.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
That's
I
when
didn't
they
know
met
that's
each
when
other.
they Okay.
That's when they met each other at the power mixer.
That's hard.
So you have to get outside. You have to be available. You have to make yourself available for these opportunities. That's the only way that you're gonna grow. It's not gonna come to you.
I have this right here, right? And just because we've actually talked about doing like a festival in the past.
Yep.
I know one time before we had wanted to rent out like the depot, and I know that they weren't renting the depot out, but I think they are doing it again now. What a festival from us would kind of look like, or what we would be honestly wanting to do, it'll be, I have this, so I'm just gonna read this up and then we can talk about it. We feel Sanford creatives deserve to shine, and us ourselves, OnSight Media, we're going to actually try to do our best to actually make a difference by actually hosting and actually putting together our own festival. We don't have no definitive dates or anything like that. We're just gonna, build it, and we're just gonna do a call for action, whether you're hip hop, R&B, gospel, country, pop, rock, poetry, dance, and beyond. We want you on the stage. We're not gonna wait for an invite. We're actually just gonna create our own, and basically we want people that's definitely locally from our city, Sanford, the Lee County area, have stage presence and passion for their craft. Artists with music and material ready to move the crowd, inclusive of all diverse backgrounds and even some of the surrounding areas. This is something that we want to actually put together. Like I said, with no definitive dates. Just stay tuned for application information, performance opportunities, and then we're just gonna move from there.
Of course, influence is a big thing, and I think that's how I'm gonna segue into this next piece. Influence is definitely a big thing. You spoke about Tasty Wings, which is your catering company that you definitely need to bring back, what you just said you're bringing back.
Mm-hmm.
But a couple of weeks ago, I was able to attend another, or I think this was the first Shrop Fest, which is, if people don't know, there is a comedian from North Carolina named Tim Shropshire.
Mm-hmm. I'm talking about.
Okay, and he became, or has been a food reviewer.
Mm-hmm.
He's been making food related content on TikTok, Instagram, and he's also a local comedian. I remember he came and did a set at my church in 2023. And I've definitely seen, like, when he came in 2023, his numbers weren't where they are now, which I believe, don't quote me, but I believe he's at around 500,000 on Instagram. So he was able to do some content with a very popular food influencer by the name of Keith Lee. And Keith Lee has about 16, 17 million on TikTok. So when we talk about influence and people making themselves available, there were 2 food trucks at the Shrop Fest that Keith Lee did reviews on. And I'm not going to name the trucks because what I want to speak about is the power of influence right now, and basically getting out here and starting your own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has to start somewhere. Don't get too focused on how you're going to do it, what it's going to look like. Mm-hmm. You must crawl before you walk. So the first thing we got to do is we got to start crawling. Mm-hmm. Right? So again, there are 2 food trucks from North Carolina that Keith Lee does reviews on. And at the Shrop Fest, there are over 30 food trucks. And let me just say, of course, I didn't eat at all 30. Me and my wife, we visited about 4 trucks. Incredible food. From the trucks that we ate at, incredible food, right? Now, we're in a group of, it was actually like a couples events. We went with, I think, 6 or 7 other couples from our church.
Okay.
So we're out here. Everybody's visiting different trucks, and we're just bouncing back. How was that? How was this truck? How was this truck? And the two trucks that Keith Lee and his 17 million followers, the two trucks that he reviewed, absolutely had the longest lines. Now, this is the effect. Did they have the best food? From the group that I was with, of course, this is opinionated. The answer would have been no. But because Keith Lee and his great influence gets out here and says, this is the truck that you need to eat at. And he wasn't just speaking of, he just gave his review. His reviews were good. They knew these food trucks were at the Schropp Fest. I mean, it was almost like amusement park lines waiting on these trucks. You really waiting an hour to order, and then it's going to take you another 20 minutes to get your food. And it had to be 80 degrees that day. Like, we in the middle of, I think this was some farm, Phillips Farm in Briar Creek, Cary area.
It was in Briar Creek.
It ain't no trees. Like, it's hot. You standing out here sweating to get a taco or whatever it was. And then for the food to quote unquote be subpar, like, that just speaks to the power of influence. You had plenty of options, but I want this because Keith Lee said this is what it is.
I think it's a couple in Raleigh, Raleigh Food Trap. Have you heard of them?
I have not.
They started out about 3-4 years ago. It was something that, like, the wife, she really wanted to do content. The husband really didn't, care to. And they actually were, I want to say, listed by, like, ABC 11 as, like, influencer of the year. Influencers of the year last year. And anywhere they go to, any restaurant they go to, you're going to want to give it about a month, 2 months before you go pull up. Because if you go, you're going to be waiting in a line. Like,
The power of influence. The power of influence. Just like we don't realize how much we're programmed, or we were programmed. It depends on how much you're on social media, how much TV you watch. The advertisements, you didn't like McDonald's. McDonald's isn't the greatest restaurant. McDonald's foods is, in my opinion, actually quite gross. But why do your kids love McDonald's? Well, because there are 3 McDonald's to every other fast food chain in your city. And there is a McDonald's almost on every corner, like it is liquor stores in the South. Like, they monopolize the market. McDonald's doesn't even sell food. They sell real estate. If you don't believe me, watch the movie The Founder.
Yeah. It's also coloring, too. Like, they got the golden arches. And if you see actually most food restaurants, they got red in them. They're all gonna have red in them. Arby's, Wendy's, who else? Chick-fil-A.
Put us on game.
And it's like red is a color that actually, like, draws a person in. Like the woman in the red dress with the lipstick. It draws a person in. It catches your attention. It makes you attracted to it. And then for kids, that color is actually yellow. That color is yellow for
Ronald
kids.
McDonald's suit was
so whenever
yellow and red, I believe.
Whenever you use yellow is going to draw in kids. That's one of the reasons whenever, like, I did, like, Tasty Wings, I did, like, a merger of, like, those colors. I had the orange was the base, but I had the yellow, and then I had the red also in there. So it was like, because it's all forgive me, y'all. I can't pronounce everything, but it was psychology. I say it right?
Yeah, psychology.
That's all it is, and also to go back to what I said about when we talk about Car Ray Day, people are followers. It takes for somebody else to be like, hey,
I'm gonna jump on the bandwagon because I see you doing it, so it's got to be alright. You doing it, it's got to be alright.
Now, just to speak to Keith Lee, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tag you in this too. I seen the reviews. Yo, cookout review, bro. It was kind of disrespectful.
Why did he do? I guess cookout is a North Carolina thing. My wife actually put me on the cookout. I knew nothing of cookout until we started dating many moons ago. So I guess that's why it be North Carolina. Well, Cookout is a North Carolina thing. So when he's in North Carolina, he actually linked up with Tim Shropshire. They went and did Cookout, which was probably a major plug for Cookout itself.
He gave them not so good reviews.
I mean, it's a fast food restaurant. Like everything else you doing is mom and pops, and this is somebody grandma in the kitchen, or they got this recipe from their grandma. So this is real. This is a fast food chain. You getting French fries out the bag. This is pre-packaged chicken. Like this.
Yeah.
To me, that's different. That's different. But yeah, still shout out Keith Lee.
Yeah, most
Great content.
Oh yeah, I'm about to take a trip. I ain't even gonna lie. See how he got me. He went. It's his place in Vegas. I seen it yesterday, and me and my wife was looking at it. He was like, "Oh yeah, we about to go out there." It was a blueberry chicken sandwich. It's actually a chicken sandwich that had like blueberries on it, and I was watching it. I'm like, yeah, this is about to be.
I'm intrigued. I like blueberries.
He gave it high reviews, and then I seen like a couple other people that went there after him, and they all said the same thing. So I'm just like, you know, but I take a Vegas trip just to try a chicken sandwich, you know.
A Vegas trip just to try a chicken sandwich. That's different. There's a lot of things in Vegas.
A lot of things.
Most people don't go for a chicken sandwich.
I'm not a gambler, you know what I'm saying? I don't like risking my money. You know,
I know that's right.
I don't like to take the risk.
I've never even played a lottery ticket. Can you believe? Never bought one lottery ticket. But I'm like you. I'm not a gambler. I gamble on a lot of other things, not my money and playing numbers. And yeah, that's a side part. I'm just going rampant left field right now.
I ain't gonna say I ain't never did it. You know,
I've never bought a lottery ticket.
My mother sent me some numbers, 2022. And I played those numbers. I actually won $10,000 from North Carolina Lottery.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? So now I didn't let it get me hooked in because I took that money, went up with my business. Like, yeah.
There was a local guy a few years ago that won, I think, $200,000 off of a scratch off.
If I got that much, I might have put, you know what I'm saying, about 50 back in. You know, but.
I don't know what he did with the money. And that was in my area, too. I think that store was, like, right around the corner from my house. It was...
And those be the places to go.
Yeah, that's
those
what
are the
I've
places
heard.
to go. You walk in there, you see the whole wall. Like,
I don't remember the story, but I think him and another friend went to the store. And the person he was with bought a certain number of tickets. And then he came right behind them and bought some tickets. And one of the tickets that he bought, he won the $200,000 off of. How it broke down, I don't remember. People that's watching this podcast that know the individuals I'm talking about, I'm leaving them nameless.
Yeah, most
They'll
definitely.
definitely remember this
Oh
story.
yeah, and I don't run out of that 10,000. I don't got that no more. It's gone. I'm broke.
Because they finna hit your phone like, cash, I need a loan right now.
I'm broke.
Oh man,
for real.
This is beautiful though. But the power of influence. My lasting statement is, don't think about it too long. Nike slogan, just do it. Because we do everything else. People do anything that they want to do. If I want to sit around and watch TV all day, I'm going to do that. If I want to be inspired to go and learn a trade, I'm going to do that. People do anything they want to do. I want to stunt and get me a brand new Benz or get a Benz period just because I want to drive a luxury car. I will work forever to go get a used Benz that's got 180,000 miles on it just because I got it made up in my mind that I want a Benz. Like, people can do whatever they want to do, and we're determined to do a lot of things. But I think this goes back to your influence and what you aspire, what you see, and what motivates you is ultimately what you're going to do. So, like, we were inspired to continue to create for a city that may not necessarily appreciate in the ways that we give opportunities. But it ain't never stop us from making podcasts and doing these events. So just Nike slogan, just do it. Don't quote me. I mean, you can definitely quote that I said that, but I didn't make that one up. Nike slogan, just do it. You got to start somewhere. You got to crawl before you walk. The point is, if you never start crawling, then you'll never learn how to walk. That's my statement. What you got, Cash?
Mine is gonna be you can't spell community without unity. I think that it's time that, like, you know, we come together on, you know, all across all boards, you know, not just in urban communities, even though, you know, we got a lot of work that we need to do there. We need to stop some of the separation, some of the divide, because we can do so much more in numbers than we can individually. And I think just that pullback just it hinders us, you know, on all the way around. I think, like, in our community, it's a mentality.
Absolutely.
You know, the next person, either they think they're better than the next person, or they don't want the next person to lap them, or, you know, whatever. It's like that crab in the barrel mentality, and like we gotta change that, or we're not gonna have no growth. When it come across the whole city, when we unify, there's gonna be things on both sides that we don't necessarily understand about each other, right? We're gonna look at each other different because of the lack of understanding. But when we unify, we can actually merge those divides, you know what I'm saying, and put a bridge there. And then, you know, it just brings us together as a stronger knit city. So, yeah, my closing statement is you can't spell community without unity. So,
And just to add to your statement and what you said, no two people are supposed to see the same. No two people will see something in the same way. Mm-hmm. You are not necessarily supposed to agree with a person all the time. Mm-hmm. Yet, that is the beauty of having a difference of opinion. Mm-hmm. Just because I see it differently than you do doesn't mean that either one of us are wrong. Yes. But when we can come together and put our differences aside, we can build something much, much bigger, much, much greater than either one of us could ever imagine. So, yes. No, I agree with that. Absolutely. Beautiful statement, sir. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your comments. We thank y'all, the people. Whatever y'all want to talk about, y'all need to let us know that. Mm-hmm. Leave us some comments. Hit us up on the Facebook page. Hit us on the IG page. Let us know what it is that you want us to voice our opinions on. And we definitely gonna give it. What you got for them, Cash?
Hey, y'all need to tap into this Real Fun Challenge.
Real Fun Challenge, absolutely.
You know, this is also a way to build community. You know what I'm saying? And just showing support for one another. So y'all tap in. You know, I kicked it off. You know, ended up dropping a reel. It's actually getting, you know, a lot of love right now on Facebook.
I saw that too. And shout out you and Sean Townsend. Yeah. Not to say I forgot about my guy, but you brought original. Like, if this is one of the first posts, you set the bar really, really high. Because this is you a cappella rapping with a saxophone player. I haven't, not to say nobody has ever done it, but this is definitely something different. Mm-hmm. This is the creativity, this is the artistry that we know is in this community, that we are trying to get people out of their shells to come and give to the world. Don't make the music for yourself.
And we was actually downtown Sanford, you know.
You were in downtown Sanford.
You know.
I think maybe a block away from where the Carolina Indie Fest was held.
No, we actually walked right by, like, Sandra's Bakery and...
Yeah, that's it's like the next block
I
over.
don't think it was Hugger Mugger then, though. Because they've only been here for 5.5 years. Oh, well. So I don't think it was.
Still, it's just the relevance of the area that you filmed that content. Yeah, that's what I'm speaking to.
Yeah. So, yeah, tap into this talent. You know what I'm saying? I can't win none of the prizes. You know, I'm on the opposite end.
Yeah, they gonna say it was rigged if you.
You know, I'm excluded from the prizes and, you know, the things that we have. But tap in. You know, share out the flyer. If you see it, share it. You know what I'm saying? Anything that's positive, that's news that somebody else may not know, share it. You know?
Absolutely. Support. This is how we grow. As always, that's our time. We appreciate y'all. We thank y'all for yours. Make sure y'all continue to tap in. We'll catch y'all on the next podcast.
On sight.